The Wall Street Journal's editor-in-chief is vowing to do everything in their power to secure the release of Evan Gershkovich, the journalist who is being held in Russia on spy charges. This as President Biden demands Gershkovich's release.
What's your message to Russia right now as they're detaining this Wall Street Journal reporter?
Let him go. Are you going to expel Russian diplomats or journalists? That's not the plan right now.
The Journal says the White House needs to expel the Russian ambassador and Russian journalists from the U.S., something the president says he has no immediate plans to do. But leaders of more than 30 news organizations around the world signed a letter to Russia demanding his release. The Kremlin says accredited foreign journalists can work safely in Russia. Let's bring in Bill Browder. He's the CEO of Hermitage Capital Management, and he's also the author of 2 books, A Red Notice and more recently Freezing Order, based on his experiences in Russia and becoming a target of Vladimir Putin himself. All right, so good to see you again. So can you help people understand why this time this American journalist is targeted?
It's pretty straightforward that this is hostage taking, plain and simple. Putin wants to have a high value American hostage by taking a Wall Street Journal reporter. He accomplishes that. Why does he want a hostage? Because he wants to use that hostage, use Evan as a trading chip for other Russian people who have been arrested. There's been a number of Russian spies and other money launderers and others who have been arrested by the United States and around the world, and Putin wants to restock his supply of hostages. If you remember, there was a previous hostage swap of the basketball player, and now that she's gone, Brittany Griner. Now they need another one, and so that's what this is all about. It also serves a second purpose, which is very important, which is that this is a red line. Even the Soviets during Stalin didn't cross it. You don't arrest Western journalists. And by doing so, if you're the editor of any other newspaper and you have somebody on the ground in Russia, you're probably going to ask them to leave right now. And so Putin doesn't like accurate reporting of what's going on in his country. And there's no better way to get rid of all the journalists than to terrorize one and let everyone else scramble across the border.
And you mentioned Brittany Griner, and I wonder, since she was the most recent taken and then released, do you see that Gershkovich's journey, his experience, is going to be very similar, or do you see that Russia will treat his case differently, that negotiations or even demands would be played out differently?
Well, I think he's a higher value hostage. I mean, he's a journalist. It doesn't require a campaign for anyone to understand that how important he is. He is somebody who works for the Wall Street Journal. Immediately, the president says let him out, and so I would imagine that from the Russians' perspective, this is somebody really important that they can do a lot with. But the one thing I would say is that I've seen these things play out, and they take a long time. We shouldn't expect anything to happen very quickly. The Russians will want to convict him in their court for espionage. They want to give him a very long sentence. They want us all to squirm and feel terrible about it. And at the point of maximum pain for the West, then they'll offer some type of hostage exchange. But that's not going to happen very quickly in my prediction.
Mm-hmm. In the last year, many news organizations, American news organizations, pulled a lot of their journalists out of Moscow, out of Russia, anticipating that there would be a real crackdown because there were threats against journalists who were going to say anything or report anything that was antithetical to what Vladimir Putin would want publicized. And now recently, White House spokesperson John Kirby said yesterday that Americans need to get out of Russia because, as we see now, there have been many who have returned or many who have stayed. What are your thoughts about Western journalists as a whole who are inside Russia, and particularly now that Gershkovich has been detained? What do you advise them to do?
Well, sadly, I would advise them to leave the country. There's not much that one can do if Putin decides to take more hostages. All it does is it just exacerbates the problem. As much as we'd like to have accurate reporting, For every single person out there, they're human beings with, they're, wanting freedom and having families and so on and so forth. And I don't think that anyone should be put in harm's way. And it's clear Putin is not playing by any set of rules. There's just all rule books have been torn up. You don't arrest Western journalists. Even Stalin didn't. And here we have Putin doing it without any shame.
Bill Browder, thank you so much. We'll leave it there for now.